Thank you, Larry, and thank you for asking me to come back and be part of this. To the medal recipients, I say thank you very much for your service. I also ask you that when your name is called, if you would come up to the table where the freeholders will be standing and accept your medal and your certificate. And if you would also remain up there until I finish telling the audience a little bit about you. Thank you. The first medal recipient this afternoon is George Brisco. George Brisco served as a seaman in the United States Navy from July 2001 to September 2004 during Operation Iraqi Freedom. He completed various naval operations and deployed in support of the war in March 2003. He is a recipient of the Battle Effectiveness Award, commonly known as the Battle E-Ribbon, as well as the National Defense Service Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, as well as a letter of commendation. Mr. Brisco resides in Bud Lake. He is employed by the United States Postal Service. He's a 2013 graduate of Centenary University with a bachelor's degree in Global Security Studies. He's now pursuing a certificate in a certification in cybersecurity with the goal of furthering a career in the information technology field. George Brisco. Loris V. Clarke. Loris Clarke served in the U.S. Army from April 1992 to April 1995 during the Gulf War. She completed her duty assignment in the 89th Transportation Company. She was awarded the National Defense Service Medal, the Army Service Ribbon, the Overseas Service Ribbon, a Grenade Sharpshooter Marksmanship Badge, and a Marksmanship Badge for the M16 rifle. After separation from the military, she cared full-time for her ailing mother until her mom passed away. Ms. Clarke then began working as a medical assistant, performing clerical tasks. A Kenvil resident, she is now enrolled at County College of Morris, where she is pursuing a degree to become a drug and alcohol counselor. She also volunteers with the clergy at Lyons Veterans Hospital. There, she helps bring inpatient veterans to religious services. She's already written one book in tribute to her mother, and she says she'd like to write another book about her late father. Loris V. Clarke. Louis Bodian. Louis Bodian of Morris Township served in the U.S. Army from January 1969 to January 1971 as a company clerk and medical corpsman. He completed basic training at Fort Knox and advanced training at Fort Sam Houston and Fort Rucker. His deployment was to the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. He received the Marksman Qualification Badge for the M14 rifle and was awarded the National Defense Service Medal and the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal. After his military service, Mr. Bodian worked in healthcare, finance, and administration for 45 years, including 20 years at Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield and 5 years with New Jersey Medicaid. And as a medical practice administrator, he taught graduate students for 13 years. He now works part-time for Homeless Solutions. He and his wife, Helena, were married in 1971. They have 2 daughters, Dina and Suzanne. Mr. Bodian says he enjoys being able to give back to his community in a meaningful way. He is past president of the Morristown Jewish Center, past president of the Burnham Park Association, a current board member at the Community Soup Kitchen, and current treasurer of the board at Dawn Center for Independent Living in Denville. Louis Bodian. Eugene F Lemoncelli. Eugene Lemoncelli is a Marine veteran who was born in Scranton in 1937. There, he lived on his grandparents' farm until the age of 3. He then moved with his mother to Dover so she could work at Picatinny Arsenal during World War II. A 1954 graduate of Dover High School, he was a terrific athlete. He was undefeated as a discus thrower in his senior year and a member of Dover's first undefeated football team. After high school, Mr. Lemoncelli joined the Marines. He did his basic training at Paris Island in August 1954 and advanced training at Camp Lejeune. He then went to Quantico, Virginia for ROTC Reserve Officers Training. He was stationed at Quantico for 31 months and was honorably discharged in August 1957. His post-military life began with his marriage to his wife, Bee, in 1958 and included a 34-year career with the A&P Company. He later purchased Hilltop Market in Pennsylvania and retired 7 years later. Mr. Lemoncelli enjoys collecting antiques, vacationing, and spending time with friends and family, including children Leanne, Scott, and Craig, and grandchildren Lily, Karen, and Ava. Eugene F Lemoncelli. Kenneth W Gorman. Kenneth Gorman served with the Organizational Maintenance Squadron in the United States Air Force from 1965 to 1971. His deployments included Pakistan, Iran, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Greenland. Mr. Gorman is a small arms expert who was awarded the National Defense Service Medal, the Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, the Air Force Organizational Excellence Award, a Good Conduct Medal, and a Presidential Unit Citation. After his military service, he worked in quality control and ballistics at the Hercules Corporation for 20 years and later worked for Hormel Foods for 11 years. The son of William and Viola, Kenneth married his wife Catherine in 1976. They have 4 children, Ken Gorman Jr., Belinda, stepson Robert, and granddaughter Isabella. He's a Mount Hope resident and serves as the Adjutant Sergeant of Arms for American Legion Post 344 and Morris County Master of Arms for the American Legion. He is also the 2001 Garden State Skeeting Champion. He says he'd like to help other veterans apply for and receive their benefits and take veterans who are disabled or who cannot drive to VA facilities for medical care and services. Kenneth W. Gorman. Christopher T. Orr. Christopher Orr served in the United States Army from April 1974 to October 1989, including a period during the Vietnam War. He was with the 82nd Airborne Division from 1974 to 1978, Medical Department activities from 1978 to 1983, the 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment in Germany from 1983 to 1986, then back to Medac from 1986 to 1989 at Fort Monmouth and Picatinny Arsenal. His duties included setting up landing zones, recon patrols, and the movement of personnel and equipment via helicopters. He received Special Forces Halo, Sniper, Demolition, and Military Practical Nurses training. Mr. Orr was awarded the Good Conduct Medal 5 times, the Army Commendation Badge 2 times. He's an M16 expert, he received an M16 expert badge, an M203 grenade launch expert badge, a Pathfinder badge, a parachute badge, the National Defense Service Medal, and the Army Achievement Medal. After the military, he used his service experience in the civilian medical field as a registered nurse with Dover General St. Clair's Hospital. He's also a community volunteer with the Boy Scouts of the United Methodist Church. He married Tammy in 1989. They have 3 children, Jessica, Sarah, and Zachary. He says he plans to continue working, to enjoy watching his children excel at everything they do, and to continue sharing his life with his best friend, his wife, Tammy. Christopher T. Orr. Paul Vico. Paul Vico of Morris Plains served in the Army from March 1969 to December 1970 during the Vietnam War. He completed advanced infantry training at Fort Dix and was assigned to Fort Myer, Virginia, with the 3rd U.S. Infantry for a security detail at Arlington National Cemetery. He deployed to Long Binh, Vietnam with the 506th Transportation Detachment, 4th Transportation Command, assigned to security and supply escort details at bases across Vietnam. Mr. Vico was awarded the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, and the New Jersey Distinguished Service Medal. After his military service, he was a teacher and a social worker, a counselor and an administrator in public schools and at the college level. He retired after 40 years in the educational system. He says community service is very important to him. It's also dear to his heart. He suffered heart failure due to exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam and received a heart transplant in 2015. He now volunteers at the Sharing Network, an organization that coordinates transplants throughout New Jersey. He also volunteers at Health Hearts at Beth Israel Hospital. He married his wife Marion in 1973. They have 2 children, Gregory Vico and Stephanie DiCostanzo. They also have 5 grandchildren, Sophia, Nicholas, Gregory Jr., Ava, and Ella. He enjoys his wonderful family and focuses on each day with love. Mr. Vico likes to give back to organizations and to people that have given the gift of life to so many. He says he respects and honors his heart donor and family by demonstrating compassion and understanding to those who need support. Paul Vico. Our last medal recipient this afternoon is John F McDermott. John McDermott served in the United States Army from July 1946 to November 1947 at the conclusion of World War II, when he was deployed to Japan and served with the 21st Infantry. He was awarded the World War II Victory Medal and the Army of Occupation Medal for Japan. Before he joined the Army, Mr. McDermott completed 1 year of pre-medical education at Seton Hall. He completed those studies when he returned home. He earned a Bachelor of Arts degree and also majored in business. After the military, Mr. McDermott of Denville was employed by Eberhard and later by Bendix. He also worked in real estate sales and as a limo driver. His parents were Alice Allworth and John McDermott Sr., who was a freight foreman for the Pennsylvania Railroad. He has a twin sister and 4 children, John McDermott III, Ingrid Lebrecht, Matthew McDermott, and Ellerine Pickens. He also has 6 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. His wife Ruth passed away in 2001. John F. McDermott. Now, as a special addition to our ceremony, we have the great honor of presenting Mr. McDermott with 2 other medals he earned for his service to our nation but never received. Those are those medals I just mentioned a few minutes ago, his long-awaited World War II medals, the Victory Medal and the Army of Occupation Medal for the occupation service he performed in Japan. Mr. McDermott has long been authorized to wear these medals, but with the help of his family, he is receiving them for the first time this afternoon. I'd like to ask his fellow World War II veteran, Hjalmar Johansson, to come up and present those medals to Army veteran John F. McDermott.
Thank you, Mr. Johansson. Congratulations, Mr. McDermott. It's been a great honor to host this event today. I think we're at the conclusion. The sun is coming out again, so that's great news for everybody. In conclusion, I would just remember, and Freelda Cabana said this earlier, remember those who have sacrificed for our country. Remember them as you celebrate and enjoy your time off this weekend. The freedom you have to enjoy at this time is because of what these folks have done for us. So we thank you very much, and we thank everyone here around us for coming here today.